Alrighty, welcome to the channel. So, the Hoka Carbon X3. Now, I know that I'm very late to the game here. It's been out for probably well over a year, but I saw this about 6 weeks ago and it got me thinking that I fancied just a lighter road shoe, something a little bit more springy, something a bit more bouncy, something with that carbon plate in it, but not too restrictive. So I looked into the reviews of this shoe here, the Hoka Carbon X3, and actually they weren't brilliant. So the first impression a lot of people they found, which I'll go into later, they found the top here a little bit too loose, a bit too loosey-goosey. Therefore, it got me thinking that actually this could be the perfect shoe for a foot that's got some width to it. So I picked up a pair, but what I didn't want to do was just try them on, go for my first run and actually do a review immediately because I wanted to give it a good 50 miles or so, which I have packed into these shoes here, so I can really give you my first thoughts, proper impressions of the shoe from someone with a wide foot, with somebody that comes from an ultra background. So it's going to give a little bit of different perspective to the shoe, but I think I have lots of good stuff and one or two negative things to say. But I'm down here in France, in the sort of southwest of France. It's a really hot evening right now, and I have been putting the shoe through the paces over the last few weeks of being down here. And as I said, I'm very impressed. I think the shoe actually does work for me. Spoiler alert, I'll talk more details about the shoe in a second, but in regards to how the shoe fits and feels, I find it actually works really well. And as I said, I didn't want to rush into this review immediately because I often find that I can do these reviews too quickly, and actually there's an issue that comes further down the line. Touch wood, it doesn't come further down the line, but all I can say right now is that the width up front, because it is quite flexible, this mesh up here, it gives a lot of stretch to the shoe. There's no need for me to tie down these laces too tight because of my high voluminous foot. Therefore, it fits nicely in there. And actually, the base is not too narrow. And the thing is, with other carbon plated shoes that I've tried, like the Nike, which I've actually got the Nike Next%, I've also tried the North Face Vective, I think it is. I found those two, either A, too many overlays, too restrictive, or B, just too narrow. But because there are no overlays on the shoe here, and because it's nice and stretchy, it just means that A, my feet can fit into it nicely, and B, it doesn't restrict my big toe in too far. So, the shoe itself, this here is UK size 10.5, men's size 10.5, and I have actually found the length perfect. It weighs approximately, I think it was 260 grams, so it's nice and light, with a 32 mil at the back and 27, so it's a 5 mil drop, and it has that sort of nice mix of the Pro-Fly there, but also that rubberized EVA outsole, which gives it some nice traction. Obviously there's no grip apart from just what it is there, but it's a decent amount of traction for the tarmac and for the road, and for even some very, very light buffed out trails. But obviously this is a carbon plated shoe, so this is designed for more, obviously for road, for tarmac, to pick up the pace. But that said, unlike the other shoes like the Nikes, etc., this is actually a shoe that you can wear around, out and about, even to the shops if needed, without feeling or sounding ridiculous. It doesn't have that squeaky feel. It's a comfortable shoe, so therefore it does fit in nicely to lots of scenarios, even when you want to go slow. I found it okay, but what I also did like is that carbon plate isn't ridiculously stiff, and it does definitely give you that slight propulsion, especially on the hills, which might just be me, but I found that quite good. But I found the shoe itself to be really, really nice and comfortable. Just a different bounce, different feel underfoot from the Ultras. It's nice and super lightweight, super lightweight. Therefore, it's just more of an extension of your foot. It just doesn't really feel like much. But as I said, because it's nice and stretchy here, your foot fits in nicely. There's no major need for me to tie down the laces too much because of my high voluminous foot, this bad boy here. And so therefore it just slots in and away we go. But as the shoe feels, I had no problem with the heel collar here. It's got quite a pronounced heel collar, but that's obviously very typical to the Hokas, which is fine. It's quite stiff, quite controlled, and there's no tongue. It's obviously all one unit here, which everyone probably knows about with this shoe here. And that is it. So it's a very basic sort of shoe, a decent midsole, EVA outsole there as well. And that's it. I find, so far, so good. I mean, unlike other sort of Hokas that I've tried, even with the Clifton, for instance, I found the Clifton, the midsole, just a bit meh. And so I like that Pro-Fly midfold inside here, nice and bouncy and springy. I also found the Clifton's just a bit heavier as well, but also because they've got more overlays, it just gives you the slight more restriction on the foot. And if you're coming from a foot that's slightly wider, like mine, you will appreciate that freedom. But that said, I can see why lots and lots of people did not get on well with the shoe because of its wider, sort of sloppier, less dialed in mesh upper, meaning you really have to cinch those laces over. But for me, it was all good. That's it from me. That's it from the Hoka Carbon X3. And that is probably it from this lovely location in France. So if you've been watching my other videos, you've probably seen my last video, and hopefully I should have another weekly or 2 weekly vlog video up of my recent time down here. So if you haven't checked this, if you haven't, if you haven't, then please do check this out. And if you have, then thanks very much. And if you haven't already, then please do click that like button. And if you haven't, then please do subscribe if you haven't already. But if you have, thanks very much. Right, that's it from me. I will see you all very soon. Ta-ta.